Hi there, I'm at International Quilt Market and I'm here to introduce my Hindsight collection, which is actually a 15-year anniversary collection. And Hindsight isn't just a reprint and it's not just a looking back collection, it's also a new imagining of some of the art that I've created over my 15 years. And in fact, just to celebrate those years and all the designs that I produced in them with free spirit, I also had this gorgeous quilt made by my friend Brittany Anderson. And it represents 400 different prints, but not every colorway of all those prints, but it is every print that I've ever designed over 15 years, and I'm collecting signatures from fans and shop owners and friends and colleagues and reps, and so come by the booth 816 if you want to sign it. And this is a little preview of Hindsight and some of my favorite elements from garden party, field study, so many collections. In fact, I think the artwork from at least 11 different collections contributed to putting together Hindsight. And we're doing it in 2 different colorways. There's 18 total pieces. You can see over here that you might remember the volumes print from my drawing room collection. It used to be just very simple solid blocks, and this is a reimagining where I dropped in some of my True Colors prints into those solid blocks. A lot of you are familiar with my Echinacea print, which I've reprinted a few times, but it's always only been one color flower, and now we have 4 different colorways of Echinacea, and all of them are multicolored, which is really fun, gives you lots of variety to cut up and play with. And this ghost wing design that used to be first in the field study linen collection is also now paired with a drawing room nouveau bouquet design. So honestly, it was just a huge joy to put all these things together, to play with them. I kind of could have gone on forever working with all these art elements and seeing them in a new light, just like Hindsight, which is delivering in 2020, which is kind of cool because Hindsight's 2020. And behind me I have just the beginning of the quilts with Hindsight. So let's start over here. This is a whole program that we're doing with Free Spirit. It's called the Wheelhouse Quilt, and they have a whole Wheelhouse Club. So it's essentially a kit that gets delivered over the course of 5 months. But you can see it's somewhat in a medallion style, so it'll progressively work its way out in completion over those 5 months. And lots of really fun, pretty fussy cutting with the centerpiece flower and the moths. So it's actually much more simple to create than you would think. There's only one applique in the center of all these blocks. It's a circle, and then the rest of it is all straight patchwork. And then moving down the wall, we also have this quilt that I'm calling Natural Cadence. There's a more simple straight line version of this in the Free Spirit booth. It's going to be in American Quilt Retailer. I believe this is going to be in Today's Quilter, but it's also going to be a pattern that I publish on my own. But again, big simple patchwork with just a bit of applique. I'm still in the midst of hand quilting this. Every time I look at it, I want to take it off the wall and start stitching on it a little bit more. And I'm really happy to say that I introduced a new collection of Aurifil, an anniversary box. I'll show you that when we get to the front of the booth. But lots of beautiful colors of 12 weight that I put together for the collection, as well as 50 and 80 weight. So again, this one is also deceiving in how simple or hard it is. Those irregular edges are not as tricky as you might think, and I think are really fun and would look beautiful hanging off the edge of a bed. And then this quilt down here, I'm calling Center of Attention. And this is showing off all of the new template shapes that I'm doing. You might be familiar with my templates for applique called In Bloom. This new collection is called Moonbeam because we have lots of swoops and crescents and ovals. And it's the first time I've done a template that actually creates a Dresden by putting 12 together, as well as like this kind of shadow petal that goes behind it. So this is a block style applique quilt, which normally when I'm doing applique, I do sort of all over big sweeping shapes on a composition or the background of the quilt. But this one is block by block, so a little bit more simple to produce. And it's a pattern I'll be putting out next year, a little closer to the delivery of Hindsight, which is April. So you can stay tuned on my website and my Instagram for rolling out all the different quilts and threads and templates and products that are going to go along with the Hindsight release. I can show you here, this is the beautiful Aurifil box that we actually did in the new Hindsight design. And this is a different colorway than the two large honorable mention prints. And in fact, that is a 108-inch backing, which I should show you. I have hidden behind the wall. So this is the 108-inch backing that we're doing. This is actual scale, so that's pretty exciting. It's going to be amazing to chop up and use as applique or as the backing for your projects. So that's basically the story of Hindsight. And we also have the Chapter 3 collection quilts here from Conservatory. Conservatory, of course, is my collective with a few other designers. Monica Forsberg. This is her Endless Summer collection and quilt, which I think is just incredibly darling and charming. And this is a snippet of the chapter quilt that includes the designs from myself, Buku, and Monica. And if we flip around on the other side, you can have a look at this is my 1 Mile Radiant quilt, and 1 Mile Radiant was my collection contribution to Chapter 3, which we're just on the brink of that shipping and still have inventory available, which is very exciting. And this is the After the Rain quilt by Buku, which emulates raindrops. But the chapter is called Wild, so everything's very naturalistic, very colorful. It's been a joy to work with. I'm actually finally, now that I'm through market, I get to go home and play with these fabrics. So I'm really excited about that. And that ought to keep me busy until Hindsight arrives next year. So thanks for coming by.